I was staring at my phone at 2 a.m., reading the 10th text message in a row, each one angrier than the last. My hands were shaking. And I remember thinking, after 10 years of friendship, how did we end up here? With me blocking her number and crying on my bathroom floor. And you won't believe what led to that moment. Hi, I'm Mallory, and this is Mallory Moments, where I share the real stories I never thought I'd tell out loud. If you've ever had a friendship that felt more like a burden than a blessing, or if you stayed loyal to someone way past the expiration date because you felt like you owed them, this one is for you. Before that night, before the text, before everything fell apart, our friendship looked perfect from the outside. We met in college. She was the first person who talked to me in freshman orientation. We did everything together. Late night study sessions, road trips, brunches where we talked for hours. People called us soulmates, best friends for life. For 10 years, she was my person. But looking back now, the signs were there from the beginning. I just didn't want to see them. She'd make jokes at my expense in front of groups. Little digs about my clothes, my dating life, my career choices. Everyone would laugh, and I'd laugh too, even though something inside me felt small. She always needed to be the center of attention. If I shared good news, she'd somehow make it about her struggles. If I was going through something hard, she'd one-up me with something worse. Have you ever felt like you were walking on eggshells around someone who was supposed to be your safe place? I started noticing I felt exhausted after seeing her. Drained. Like I'd just run an emotional marathon. But I kept making excuses. She's just going through a tough time. She doesn't mean it. That's just her sense of humor. Until my birthday dinner. The dinner that changed everything. The night she said something I knew I could never come back from. I wish I could tell you I was strong from the beginning, that I saw the red flags and walked away with my head held high. But that's not what happened. I felt guilty for even thinking our friendship was toxic. She'd been there when my dad died, when I got dumped, when I didn't know if I'd make rent. Didn't that earn her a lifetime pass? Didn't I owe her everything? I told myself the same lies over and over. You're being dramatic. She's just going through a hard time. Real friends don't give up on each other. You're too sensitive. You're ungrateful. I was so terrified of being the villain in someone else's story that I let myself disappear in my own. I became quieter, smaller. I stopped sharing good news because I knew she'd find a way to dim it. I stopped talking about my feelings because they'd somehow become about hers. My 31st birthday, I'd planned this small, intimate dinner at my favorite Italian place. Just 6 people I loved most in the world, including her. She showed up an hour late, walked in like nothing was wrong. No apology, no acknowledgement. I was in the middle of telling everyone about this huge work promotion I just landed, something I'd worked toward for 3 years, when she cut me off mid-sentence. Oh my God, can we please talk about something interesting? I've already heard this story twice. The entire table went silent. Someone coughed. I could feel everyone's eyes on me, waiting to see what I would do. I forced a laugh, made some joke about being boring, changed the subject, played it off like it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Later, when people were ordering dessert, I pulled her aside into the hallway. My whole body was shaking, but I forced the words out. What you said earlier, that really hurt. It's my birthday, and I was excited to share. She rolled her eyes, actually rolled them. Jesus, Mallory, you're so dramatic. I was joking. Why do you always make everything about you? Then she grabbed her coat and left. I stood there in that hallway, listening to the sounds of laughter from the restaurant, and something inside me just broke open. Not in a painful way, in a clarifying way. She didn't care that I'd hurt her. She was angry that I dared to call her out. Walking away from her meant losing 10 years of my life. 10 years of inside jokes, shared memories, photos on my wall. It meant losing the person who knew me in college, who'd seen every version of me grow up. It meant our mutual friends would have to pick sides. Some of them wouldn't understand. Some of them would think I was overreacting, being too sensitive, giving up too easily. It meant admitting that I'd wasted a decade on someone who didn't actually see me, that I let myself be diminished year after year because I was too loyal or too scared or too hopeful that she'd change. But staying meant losing the last pieces of myself I had left. Staying meant continuing to feel anxious every time my phone buzzed, continuing to rehearse conversations in my head, continuing to make myself smaller so they could feel bigger. Staying meant losing me. A week after my birthday, I called my therapist. I sat in my car in her parking lot and said, I think my best friend might be toxic, but I don't know if I'm allowed to end a 10-year friendship over, I don't even know what to call it. She asked me one question. When you think about seeing her next week, how does your body feel? My stomach dropped. My chest tightened. Anxious, I whispered. I feel anxious. She nodded. Mallory, friendship shouldn't feel like dread. That sentence unlocked something in me. I didn't block her right away. I tried to create distance first. I stopped responding immediately to her text. I started saying no to plans without over-explaining. I gave myself permission to be unavailable. And she noticed. The text started coming more frequently. Passive-aggressive comments. Guess you're too busy for me now. Guess must be nice to have new friends. Then came the guilt trips. After everything I've done for you, I thought we were best friends. One night, she sent me 10 messages in a row, accusing me of being fake, saying I'd changed, demanding I explain myself. I read every word, and then I typed 4 words. I need space. Goodbye. And I blocked her number. Here's what no one tells you about ending a toxic friendship. You don't feel free right away. At first, you just feel guilty and sad and like you maybe made a mistake. I second-guessed myself for months. I'd see something funny and think, I should text her. Then I'd remember I couldn't. I'd remember why. But slowly something shifted. I started sleeping better. I stopped checking my phone with anxiety. I had more energy for the people who actually made me feel good. I realized a real friend doesn't make you feel small so they can feel big. Maybe for you, it's not a friendship. Maybe it's a family member, a coworker, someone you've known your whole life, someone you feel obligated to keep around because of history, because of guilt, because of what people might think. You are allowed. You are allowed. You are allowed. If you've ever had to walk away from a toxic friendship, or if you're trying to find the courage to, tell me your story in the comments. Sometimes we need to hear that we're not alone, that we're not the bad guy for choosing ourselves. This has been Mallory Moments, where we talk about the messy, brave parts of real life. If this resonated with you, hit subscribe for more stories like this. One story at a time, we're learning that loyalty to yourself matters just as much as loyalty to others. You are not selfish. You are not cruel. You're just learning to love yourself enough to let go of what hurts. I'm Mallory. Thank you for listening.